So, cycling in Oslo used to be normal, like everywhere else. These are a few pictures from the way it used to be before the automobile started dominating the streets in the 1960s. And then cycling basically vanished. There were some protests, and the first cycle network master plan was already made in the late 1970s. But a lack of funding, and later also a lack of political will to prioritize, has left this network incomplete. So on average, since 2005, the city has only built 1.5 kilometers of new bicycle infrastructure each year. But 4 years of broken promises, those days are over. We have a new city government that has very high ambitions. 25% bicycle modal share in 2025 is the ambition. And the lady on the photo is my boss. She's the vice mayor of transport in Oslo. She was elected last year from the Green Party. The situation today is not that bad. We have a bicycle modal share of 8%. And when you look at all the green travels, we're actually doing okay. So what we want to reduce is the light green share of car travels. Last year, a new bicycle strategy was enacted by actually a unanimous city council. Everyone agrees that cycling is good. Before making this strategy, or a part of making it, was doing some investigations, some surveys to figure out what is the situation today, what needs to be done. These investigations discovered that there is a massive potential in Oslo to make people cycle. People want to cycle. 2/3 of the population wants to cycle or to cycle more than they do. This is the average cyclist in Oslo in 2013. It's basically a man in his 40s doing long distance, high speed commuting in Lycra. It is changing, but this was the situation in 2013. You can also see that there are vast differences between the city districts. You have the immigrant-heavy district of Alna with 1% bicycle modal share, and you have the hipster district of Grünerløkka with about 15% modal share. So there are really vast differences in the city. 6%, that is the number of the group of potential cyclists that agreed with that statement. Only 6% find cycling in Oslo to be safe. What's important to remember is that this is how safe they feel. It's not the statistical safety. That is not always, does not always correlate. When you look at these photos, I guess you kind of understand why people don't find it safe. We have about 200 kilometers of bicycle infrastructure, mostly painted bike lanes, some of them next to parked cars. They're poorly maintained, or they used to be. I'll get back to that. And they disappear whenever there's a bus stop or an intersection. So the surveys we did showed that people weren't satisfied with this, and they don't feel safe using the bicycle infrastructure already in place. So our number one task is to make people feel safer. And as you can see, that's also what they say themselves. Safer will make them cycle more. So we're making a new cycle path master plan. And of course, the people in Oslo were thinking, yeah, right, 525 kilometers, you couldn't even finish the 180 you've had for 40 years. But people are starting to actually get that we're serious about this. So yeah, the suggested plan is a lot denser than the former one, higher quality, and and 525 kilometers. What we're also doing is we're making our own best practice design guide for building bicycle infrastructure because the national standards are not good enough. So we're basically doing the job the Norwegian National Roads Administration should have done. This best practice design guide, we're very much inspired by Holland and Denmark. So as you can see, we're starting to implement contraflow bike lanes to increase the competitive, to make it easier and faster to cycle. We're also going to build the Danish-style bike lane with a curb because that's the way to make people both feel safe and actually be safe. And also bicycle streets where cars are guests. And yeah, as you can see, these contraflow bike lanes. The next 3 years we're building, or not necessarily building, but we're making 60 kilometers of new bicycle infrastructure. And a lot of these 60 kilometers is basically this, reallocating space to the bicycle, removing on-street car parking. We're going to remove 1,300 on-street car parkings. And this is the biggest difference between the former government and the new one. The former, they were pro-cycling, but not removing car parking. The new one, they say remove it. So that makes our job very much easier. What we're also doing is upgrading the infrastructure that we already have. We're maximizing the width of the bike lanes to make them feel safer and be safer. We're putting a red surface to make them more visible, and we are putting new asphalt to increase comfort and also traffic safety. We're also implementing a higher standard maintenance all year, fixing potholes in summer, sweeping and clearing snow and ice in winter. We didn't have money for this before, but last year we were given about 2 million euros for this. So we've really managed to up the standard. I think everyone in this room knows that cycle-friendly streets are a precondition for making people cycle more. But that's not always enough. So we are doing a lot of stuff with communication and campaigns to nudge people into changing these hard-grown habits that they tend to have. And I'm going to talk too much about this, but for us it's very important to show that cycling is normal. It's not, you don't need all this gear. We're always pictured without helmets and we get shit for it, but we don't care because we know that showing photos of people with the helmets that doesn't make people want to cycle. So and the types of campaigns we do is we give away studded tires in winter. We offer free bike repair in summer, and yeah, really stuff that nudge people, not just like poster campaigns saying, "Hey, cycling is good." This is our most successful type of nudging. It's our city bikes. We've had city bikes for about 10 years, but this year we have new ones. And 3 times as many. So now there's about 3,000 bikes, 6,000 locks on 300 racks. And 1.7 million trips so far this year. It's about twice as much as last year. 45,000 subscribers. So it's really, really increasing in popularity, despite that we had to increase the fee. It's like 300 kroner, like 30 euros for a season. And it used to be 10, but that haven't had any effect on the amount. Another important decision was to make the city center car-free in 2020, within 2020. Also we have a toll ring to increase the fees and also to implement congestion charges. And of course we're removing the amount of car parking. So all of this helps make people change their habits. And also the city's impressive public transport system is being further developed. And as you can see here, all these measures are working. Compared to last year, we've had an increase in 16% in bicycle traffic. And after we implemented a higher standard maintenance in the winter, we had a 38% increase in bicycle traffic in winter. So it's fun to work with when you have numbers like this. Yeah. On that positive note, I want to thank you for listening.